Streamgunpla Top 20. Contestgunpla Top 20 is live. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back.
Your stream title is correct.
That would help, huh? Yeah, let's do that real quick.
Niggers.
Contestgunpla Top 20. And update. Information is updated. And it's proper and correct. Just like everything about this stream, incredibly professional.
We're all just a bunch of professional assholes.
I can't wait to see how many people leave the Discord after this stream. I am so excited.
Wow.
Watch our entire community get decimated.
Thanks for joining, everyone. This has been a long time coming. For those of you that don't remember or have been living under a rock for the last month, I guess, Streamgunpla, Bad Gunpla, all the good stuff. We've been running a contest, a Gunpla photography contest for the last month. Out of that month's worth of time, we have ended up with 122 eligible entries for our first ever photography contest. Now, I wanted to do something a little bit different than a lot of people do for their competitions. A lot of people will do for their streams and for their YouTubes and all that. I did this for 3,000 subscribers on youtube.com/badgunpla1. So thank you so much for everybody that has subscribed. And I thought it would be cool to do something a little bit different than just a build comp. Like, so many people do build competitions, and I feel like that is so heavily weighted towards people that are already really good at building kits. And I wanted to do something a little bit different. So in this case, we did a cell phone photography competition where your entry was your best cell phone photography. Like, it's a little bit different than what we normally do. So I'm really, really excited to show off all of you guys' hard work. I know you have all put in a ton of work to make this stuff look really good. And yeah, it's me and the mods. We're gonna do our top 20 and show off our 20 favorite kits. But there is, or not kits, but shots. But there is something extra to that I have not talked about during the streams and things. We are actually going to give our winners tonight as well. We were originally going to just do this as part of, what's it called? Of like a YouTube video or whatever. I'm gonna put this up on YouTube too, with me stuttering and rambling and everything. But we're gonna do our top 3. We're gonna announce the winners tonight as well. After we do our top 20, we're gonna put the stream into transition mode, and we're gonna deliberate our top 3. And we will announce the winners at the end of the stream. So, to recap, 3rd place receives a high-grade Gundam Exia Dark Matter. 2nd place receives a real-grade Gundam Mark II Titans. And 1st place receives a master-grade Ale Strike Ver RM, the 2.0, if you will, of the master grade strike. And I will be messaging all of the winners on Discord to get your addresses and everything so I can send you your stuff. But let's jump into it. I think I'm pretty fucking excited about this. How about you guys?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of, sort of. A little bit.
I mean, it's all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm not seeing a really bad delay. I don't know.
That's how Twitch is. You're gonna get a delay.
It sucks because I don't know where we're at and you're talking.
I'm just talking. I'm going to you'll see it on the stream whenever the pictures all come up, after 10 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Also, want to just mention, by far our largest viewer count. We were topping 70 for a little bit, but right now we're at 58. So still, thank you all for tuning in. For those of you that are missing it or watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Let's jump into the top 20 and pop in our first entry into the top 20. This one coming from none other than L-Zaku Ghoul. Let's take a look at this here. I'm gonna get my scaling proper so we can see the entire shot. Oh, go away. So y'all can see the whole thing. But this is a, I actually kind of put this one in on a personal bias a little bit because I'm a huge fan of the Dantalian's design, or Dantalon, however the hell you pronounce it. I really, really like this design. And more than that, I do like the pose here as well. It's a big ass, bulky ass kit, right? So we've got the rocks in the background. We've got the hunched over stance, like it's almost like it's a pouncing ape, right? And I really, really like this shot. What do you guys think about this one?
Yeah, I like how much of the space the mobile suit takes up in the actual picture itself.
Yeah, the framing's a big part too. Yeah, there's not a lot of wasted space. A lot of the entries that we saw, I felt like had a lot, like too much going on in the background. A lot of wasted space. Like there's a little bit you can see up here, like right over his left shoulder, where there's some extra stuff going on, but it didn't think that it really took away from the kit. Plus, the rocks and everything kind of all fit the same color palette. So I'm a really, really big fan of this one. Any other thoughts?
It seems like it was shot whenever it was overcast.
That's true, and that is something that I want to bring up. This was obviously done outside. You could obviously tell that. Therefore, the lighting is pretty flat. That's something that will happen whenever you're shooting outside in overcast. So if you have like cloudy skies, be careful about your lighting. You can do some stuff, however, in post to make this look a little bit better. So let's take a look at this and do a little bit of editing to this. I'm gonna be doing some post-production editing on some shots, not all of them because that would take literally all night. But on some of these photos, I'm actually gonna do some touch-up to show you guys what you can do post-production wise after you take your shot to make it look a little bit nicer. In this case, I'm using the built-in Photos app for the Mac. It has much of the same features as the built-in camera app right on your iPhone. But a lot of editing tools are out there. Photoshop Express is phenomenal and it's free right from Adobe. It's absolutely wonderful. There's many other
free if you have a Creative Cloud account. So you do have to make a Creative Cloud account. Not true?
Not true. You can get it free of charge regardless.
No, yeah, but you still have to have a Creative Cloud account. You still have to sign up. You don't have to pay for the account. You just have to have a Creative Cloud account.
Yeah, it'll ask you to sign up for an Adobe ID if that's what you mean. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you need to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's a ton of awesome features. And like we talked about before, this was done with an overcast sort of shot, right? Like, and again, it's not bad, but it kind of makes everything really hazy, right? So let's try playing with this a little bit. And the easiest way to fix that is with contrast. I will be doing a little bit of highlighting so you guys can actually see where things are. So let me actually turn on the magnification on my side real quick. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. In the meantime, feel free to discuss other things.
I mean, you could probably just adjust the color temperature up a little bit and it would be fine. I don't think you have to go as far as playing with contrast. Like,
yeah, color temperature's good.
Okay.
Yeah, just making a little bit cooler image would probably
warmer.
Help a little bit. Or a little warmer, excuse me. What am I talking about?
Oof.
Oof.
Fucking thinking is hard.
The guy with the degree getting schooled.
Hey, she's got the degree in graphic design as well. There we go. Now you guys can... I got a little magnifier that I'll be zooming in on certain spots inside of the interface to show you guys where I'm talking about. But yeah, let's play a little bit first, like you had mentioned with the cast. And that's what Photos does for color temperature. You'll see this listed as just temperature in some apps. A lot of apps nowadays are using cast. So let's just drag that over a little bit, make it a little bit warmer. Now you'll see as we make it warmer though, that it's actually bringing out a lot more of like the green and yellow hues and this yellow-green rock behind him, which I do think is still pretty nice, but I'm actually going to try a couple other things to make this even nicer by using a little bit of contrast here and also the black point feature underneath that as well, which is what's telling the image what is the darkest part of the picture. So before I even touch contrast, let's go ahead and just drag the black point out a little bit. And you'll notice that even like in these little crevices here and between the rocks and these areas like underneath the shoulder armor here, how that just starts to pop out a lot more when we start using black point. And I'm gonna use
oh, that looks better already.
Exactly, yeah. So just using a little bit of contrast along with that, which is going to allow the whites separating from the blacks a little bit more. D's nuts, thank you for joining. Yeah, this is just the first, yes, D's nuts, who also entered into this contest, as funny as that sounds. But yeah, that was literally 3 things that I've changed. I've made it a little bit warmer, black point and contrast. I didn't even play with the saturation, because if I really wanted to get into this, my entire setup has frozen on me. That's a little frightening. Oh no. Am I still streaming? Okay, yes. Okay, good. I don't know what happened.
I have. Yeah.
We're good. We're back. We're back. Sorry about that, everybody.
Biggest oof.
Yeah, I don't know what on earth happened there, but that is something that happened. But yeah, I didn't even like play with a whole lot, and actually it took away all my things that I changed. Let's go ahead and bring those back. Make the castle warmer. Now, if like I mentioned before, if I wanted to get more fancy, I could play with the white balance and all kinds of other things. But even just seeing this, and I'm gonna press this little button up here every so often that I'm zooming in on right now, that's going to allow me to switch back to the photo without adjustments. That's the original. And this is more for the people watching, because you guys in the chat can't really tell. But this is the original, and just a couple little changes to make those colors pop out, I think makes a gigantic difference. But either way, my friend L-Zaku Ghoul, this is a fantastic shot. I'm a huge, huge fan of it. Thank you so much for entering. Any last thoughts before we move on to the next one?
Summed up pretty well. I really like the way the kid is framed. Again, a little bit of touching up in that in a photo editor could make it pop. As it stands, it's a little bit hazy, but otherwise it is a fantastic.
Yeah, once you hit the black point in the contrast, the haze almost goes away.
Yeah, almost entirely.
Almost entirely. Yeah, no, this was a fantastic shot. I'm a really, really big fan of it. So thank you so much, L-Zaku Ghoul, for entering. Again, stick around to see if you made the top 20. This is the top, or sorry, not the top 20, but top 3, excuse me. What am I talking about? It's been a long day.
I can confirm with 100% accuracy that L-Zaku Ghoul, your entry made the top
20. You are correct. Yes, you are.
Are you sure about that?
You are correct.
This is all just a fever dream.
Keep in mind, those who do make it into the top 20, we'll be getting stickers out to you if you would like to have a sticker. I just have to, to replace the ink in my printer.
I will be messaging everybody that makes the top 20. You will all be getting a sticker pack from my fiance, Cygnus Mackie.
No sticker pack, it's just a sticker. You're not getting a pack.
You can make sticker sheets, it's fine. But yeah, so thank you so much for that again, L-Zaku Ghoul. So moving on to our next entry. This one comes from Witch, the 40k shield, WYCH from our Discord. Now, I don't actually know what this kit is, but I really, really liked how the posing was done with it, and I think part of that is because of the kit that was chosen. Just even like little silly things like how the hands are holding the beam saber. Things like how and again, I know a lot of this is just because of how the kit is built in, but the bend in the feet, the way that the front leg is kicked out, the turn in the head. I think this is a really well posed shot. What do you guys think about this one?
This
is it cut off at the bottom? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, it's cut off at the bottom. This is one of my favorite entries simply due to how well it's posed. It's a very good action pose. You know, just the stancing, the framing of the framing on the picture could use a little bit of work, but I absolutely love the stance, and it looks like it's repurposed Mark II beam saber from the Gundam Mark II, if I'm not mistaken.
Getting all fancy and everything.
I know, and absolutely.
Look at you.
I love the touch of adding, you know, the Mark II's beams.
Mm-hmm. And a couple people mentioned it already. Sixer Mason in the chat and Sig brought this up. While I do love the pose, and the pose is really what kind of threw this one home for me, the lighting is also fantastic. However, there is always a but with these. And we're gonna actually take a look at this back in the editor mode here real quick. If I throw on the crop here, you guys can see, if I can bring up the grid, normally it'll bring up one, there we go. I talked a lot about the rule of thirds, and this one actually holds up to that pretty well with the focus being on the character's face. What bothers me is that we got the feet cut off down there at the bottom. It's always better, just from a photo theory standpoint, it's always better actually to cut off a little part of the head than it is to cut off part of the feet. And the reason for that is because that still gives you a sense of scale. With this shot having the feet cut off, even though it still adheres to that rule of thirds grid very, very well, the biggest problem, I would say personally, and this is again just me being objective, obviously art is very subjective as it is just that the fact that this is cut off down here makes a lot of negative space up here at the top. And it makes it a little less interesting. Even if we were just to bring that crop down a little bit and almost make her line up closer to in the middle of that second box up there. Let's take a look at what that looks like a little bit better now. And now you don't notice that foot being cropped off so much because there's not as much negative space around the head. So that can make, again, a gigantic difference, just little changes like that. But either way, I think that just like you guys mentioned, the pose is wonderful. I mean, the hands were made for that fucking beam saber, and just the stance and wonderful posing.
It's almost sort of cheating because Megami devices are so fun and so easy to pose like that it's worth the price of entry alone just to play around with posing in a Megami device kit.
Totally agree. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't end up getting any of the Megami device ones from the poll that we did. A lot of you guys went nuts with the bits the other day, and you guys voted on me getting 2-frame arms girls instead of Megami device kits. So how dare you? But that's
so if you want to throw bits at him so he can get one of these Megami device or whatever the hell else, you can.
Yeah, if you want to, yes. And I want to emphasize again, the lighting on this one is wonderful. Like, just the amount of separation that you get just by using the shadow. Like, take a look, for example. I'm going to zoom in real quick. Look at how her leg has so much more contour because the lighting isn't flat. Like, look at where my cursor is here on the screen. Everybody watching at home, right?
Absolutely.
There's so much more contrast. It adds so much more depth, and it's so much better to do that with lighting. Like, even like in the arms, how they're separated. Like, it's so much better to do that with lighting than it is to do that in post because it looks so much more natural. It just, I absolutely adore this shot. It's absolutely fantastic. So great job, Witch, the 40K shill. Congratulations, welcome to the top 20. And thank you so much for the 75 people watching right now. Holy shit. That is some wonderful viewage. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I'm glad that you're enjoying the second of our 20 shots here. BTE says almost cheating with the Megami device there. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I'm a big fan of this one. This was an absolutely fantastic entry. So thank you so much once more, Witch. All right. So let me get everything else prepared for the next one here.
Yeah, this 10-second delay is like throwing me off.
I'm sorry. I can't help that, but one thing I can do is I can bring up the next shot from the bugger at home. Congratulations for making the top 20, and I did like this one as well. I actually like this one a lot because of where the shot was taken. I love when environments are used in a great way, and I think that the color scheme on these two worked really, really well. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that that's a gem on the side, and is that an easy 8 on the right-hand side? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so we've got a, I think these are both high grades. We've got a high grade Gundam ground type easy 8, and then a gem ground type revive.
Totally, yeah. So yeah, and I love the environment because I think that these color schemes work really well in a foliage environment. We got a lot of dirt, we got a lot of green, lots of trees, lots of brown, plenty of brown, all the brown. But even like the little plant in front, I think works really well too. And this is a good toy photography shot in general. What do you guys think about this one?
So,
am I allowed to be? Oh, sorry.
No, you go right ahead. So,
am I allowed to be a bit of a harsh critic?
Go for it.
That's
why we're here.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things in focus, out of focus. This is, I'm going to be honest, not really my favorite one. I don't like the plant in the middle. I don't like. I mean, I think it could have been utilized a bit better, in my opinion.
Okay.
But
So,
it's like that plant's out of focus. That gun's out of focus. The background's out of focus. It's giving me a headache. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I have to agree with Sig on a lot of this one. I am not a fan of all the focus issues on this.
There are a lot of different focus points, right? And part of the reason I think for that is because the photo is actually, you can tell the reason that this happens with what's called shallow depth of field. The focus, as we talked about, I mean, it's around the head, right? Like it's around the kids itself, which is good. But the camera was actually, you can tell, very close to the figures in this shot. And the reason you could tell that is because of the shallow depth of field. This is one of those very few instances where zoom would actually be your friend here. If you're ever taking shots of scale models and you don't want them to look small, move your camera back a little bit, because when you moved your camera back, that deepens your depth of field, and then when you zoom in on the kit to make the same framing, you'll end up getting everything in focus at once. So you would have the gun in focus, you would have the plant in focus, a little bit like the foliage in the background wouldn't be as out of focus. That will make a massive difference. Alternatively, if you want to keep the shallow depth of field, another thing that may have helped this shot out a little bit is maybe bringing the shot down a little bit. So like physically bringing the phone down in this case, because again, this is all cell phone photography, and pointing it up might help a little bit just to make it a little less busy. Personally, again, I picked this for the top 20 in part because of the foliage in the background, but I definitely get the criticisms with the zoom. One other thing that would probably help this a little bit, I think, is just doing a quick crop to get some of the extra noise on the side taken care of. And I know I said I wasn't going to do this for every single kit. It's starting to look like I might. But again, just cropping it down a little bit. And that way we make actually what's called a two-up shot with the two kits. Now, both of these kits are in line a little bit closer with that rule of thirds. I'm going to go ahead and just bring it out just a little bit more so they're not hitting the edge. And that actually, I think, by itself looks a little bit nicer, just having a little bit less of the foliage on the left-hand side. It still has a lot of things going on with the focus, but I think, again, just composition-wise, this will make it a little bit nicer.
And one of the things I want to add about this picture, I do love the choice of kits, especially as far as the thing is going, because it is, you know, an outdoor shot, and the choice of Gundams from 08th MS Team, you know, that's just a personal point of mine. I like that a lot. One of the things that I feel like I am going to bring up quite often is with the fact that you have these kits posed outdoors, the fact that you have these kits with other, you know, pieces of environment. This is a very personal point of mine. Ostensibly, what you are taking photos of are 60-foot giant robots. And when you have it in frame next to blades of grass and leaves, it feels like you're taking pictures of toys, which is entirely, you know, it's entirely fine. And that's almost the purpose of this, is we are actually taking photos of model kits, scale model kits that we have built. But for a photo contest and for, you know, photography in general, I want to feel like these are 60-foot tall giant robots, not 8-inch tall model. But again, just me, and it doesn't really take anything away from the photo at all. But that's what I would like to see more of, is these kits feeling bigger than they actually are.
Sure. And if you're doing toy photography, that's obviously one thing as well. Like there is merit to having them feel small as well. One of my favorite groups on Instagram is the Toy Group Alliance. It's a group of 20 different feeds of toy photography. A couple of them being toy artistry. My personal favorite's Michael Bay that shit. Just look him up on Instagram at Michael Bay that shit. They're wonderful uses of that very small scale. So definitely check out Toy Group Alliance, Toy Artistry, and Michael Bay that shit if you want to see some really good toy photography, specifically around using miniatures to their fullest, like using things like Lego minifigs and doing some really neat stuff with those. Real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to a few people. Actually, that also this is going from the earlier stream today too. Zach_Torque, Noble617 Lira, X Kurzook X, That Angel Ray, Han Sanity, Shidohari, Open to Suggestion, Samwise 511, JK Hedgehog 12, sounds like a username I might have made when I was 12, Abe 1019, The Recruit 52, Badger Nerf, and Bane Blade 85. Thank all of you for the follows, and R2P217, thank you for the subscription as well. Thank you all so much for hanging out. And one more thing as well, I think Witch Hunter actually threw in, yes, Witch Hunter with 150 bits earlier, and BTE just subbed as well. Thank you all so much for the support. This has been super fun so far. We're only into the third entry. This is fucking great, guys. Just the support again has been absolutely phenomenal, so thank you all so much. All right, so the next one that we've got here. Any last thoughts on the on this shot before we move on to the next?
No, I think we're good.
Think we're good? All right. Well, our next shot here involves a Shinmusha, a Zaku, another Zaku, and Hazel question mark? I'm not good with the names.
Yeah, it's a Hazel.
This one comes from Blind Man on the Discord. Thank you so much for your entry. I picked this one again largely because of the posing. What do you guys think about this one?
I am a bit reserved on this one. I think it's getting a little noisy, especially with all the rocks and how they are.
There is a lot going on.
The posing is a little bit weird, especially on the tan Zaku. One of the legs seems to be turned around completely backwards.
Well, it's being stomped on by the Hazel.
Yeah, it's also lost a hand. If you take a look down underneath, like
yes,
it's heavily damaged. So I'm actually okay with that personally. But I agree. There is again, and this is a theme you're going to see throughout a lot of these shots, is there is a lot going on. With especially with scale model photography, less is more, right? Like it's very easy to put in too much. And the rocks and the background and the surface and everything, there is a ton going on in this shot. Again, I really like the posing. Like, again, I love how, like, we got the posable fingers here on the side. They look really cool on the Zaku there. What I really wish, though, is that the framing, and this one not the framing, but the focus was more on the front. Because we have these two gigantic kits here on the side, right?
Yeah.
But the focus point, the focal point of the image is actually back here with the Hazel and the Zaku down here. So we have these two huge kits up front that aren't in focus, and it can get a little distracting that way. So I think this one would have been a lot better if it was the Shinmusha and the green Zaku that were in focus, more so than the Hazel and the Zaku in the back.
Yeah, I like the composition of this shot, but I do agree the focus, if the focus was on the front two kits, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, I think honestly this is one of the better composed scenes, if you will, out of the top 20 in my opinion, because this has, again, a lot of kits. A lot of people entered in shots with multiple kits. You'll see a few more of those during the top 20 here. And yeah, I mean, it just in general, it's a good shot. It would just be so much better if this was in focus, because what else would happen there if the Shin and the Zaku was in focus? That would also take the background out of focus. Right now, with the focus point being on the Hazel and the Zaku down here, you're also getting the background in focus. You're getting these rocks in focus. If those were blurred more and these guys were in focus, they would pop so much more. So something to keep in mind, always try to bring your subjects, or try to make the thing that's in focus the largest point. So your subject you want to have in focus, like, because your eyes gonna be drawn to the largest thing. That's my thoughts there. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I mean, I definitely like the posing a lot. And I like the posing on the Shinmusha and the Zaku too, even more than I do on the Hazel and the half cannon. So I think that would have made a much more interesting shot if those were in focus, and maybe just frame it a little bit better. I would have moved the camera a little bit more to the left, and maybe get the Zaku and the Hazel, just give it a little bit more distance between the two. So that way we've got, because it's sort of, you've got 4 kits just sort of blurring into each other. Even though the Hazel and the Zaku half cannon are, a good, what looks to be 6 to 12 inches away, just a little bit more separation between those 2 sets of kits would have made a much more interesting shot. As it is, though, fantastic shot, fantastic posing. It just could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly, and that's, you're gonna see it a lot. I mean, like, all of these shots, again, 122 entries in this contest. So if you made the top 20, you got yourself a damn good shot. Just we're gonna be showing that there are ways to make this a little better. Yeah, and a sticker. You're going to be getting stickers no matter what, exactly. A couple shout-outs. BTE, thank you very much for the sub, who also said, my whole life is out of focus. So I'm sorry to hear that.
Same.
Few more follows as well. Andra Blue and Sammy Takat, AJ the Wizard, and Spike Bomb 5. Thank you all for the follows. Much obliged.
Hey, Badgunpla. Just a real quick thing on shoutouts. Is it okay if we could hold those off towards the end?
Why?
You
cutting me off? You cutting me off?
I'm cutting you off.
We can do it in between shots. That's what I'm trying to do, is in between shots. So, with the next one, and before we get to the next one, rope_arrow, thank you for the follow. And moving on to the next one, we've got this shot, which is one of my favorite lighting shots. This one from War_Machine 77. We've got I love the lighting on this one. I love the composition on this one. The pose is great. What do you guys think?
I will let you know as soon as it pops up on my screen.
That's right. You don't have that list.
I would have liked to have seen a lighter background.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, it's a very well put together kit, very well posed, very well lighted. That is an excellent point. It's very well lighted, and Go ahead.
No, you go on with your thing. I'll give my critique here in a minute.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would have liked to have seen a lighter background, at least, because it's kind of muddy.
Yeah, it hides all the detail.
Yeah, it hides. It seems like it's hiding a lot of detail. It doesn't have to be a white background. I wouldn't want it to be a stark white background, but maybe just a little bit lighter. As it stands, it is a little muddy, but
I'm going to have to disagree with you guys. This, I think, is...
You don't even hear my critique.
Oh, go ahead.
So
go ahead.
You cut off the foot again.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The composition's really good. Other than that, I like the focus. I like the lighting on it as well. I kind of agree with the background, not so much as it being too light or too dark, but it's not consistent. You see the folds and the wrinkles in the backdrop. I feel like if it was more flat, regardless of the color, I think it would have been a lot better.
Okay, I think that's fair. Because I'm actually a gigantic fan of the dark background. I think this is actually a really good demonstration of how to use negative space with a darker kit. If you watch any film noir movies, like that whole shtick is all about using negative space, using dark space to not give you the entire sense of the figure that's there. And I personally think that makes this more intimidating because of that. The only spot of color that we have in this entire shot is right here in the mono eye.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I like that bit.
I think that's fantastic, and actually, I would have liked this if the contrast was a little bit higher even. I definitely agree with Sig about the lighting. I kind of wish that the background was a little bit differently lit, but I love how the kit itself is lit.
Yeah.
I think that is a good point. I love the mono eye being the brightest point. But if that's going to be the brightest point, then either make it even darker and make it so that that mono eye is almost the focal point of the shot. So that way you've got this huge pop of color in an almost monochrome image.
Exactly. So, but that's the thing though, the bright red mono eye isn't the brightest part of the image. My biggest critique on this, I think you all will agree with me on it. We got that huge, clear action base sticking up its butt. I would have loved to have seen this with a black action base. That would have, I think, added a lot more to the aesthetic and made this not pop out so much. So whenever you're posing, if you're doing aerial poses like this, keep in mind what kind of base you're using and keep that in mind with what kind of lighting you're using. A clear base isn't always the best way to go. Like I would have even liked a black action base over like something like a Tamashi stage, which is super, super thin. I think that would have added a lot more to the shot. I saw a couple comments in the chat. I am reading that as well, by the way. I did see a comment in there about the bazooka coming up a couple more degrees. I would have liked that as well. Yeah. Because that way it would be lining up again with just the parallel, the x-axis of the shot. I would have liked to have seen that, but that's nitpicking at that point. Like I do think though this is one of the best lit kits in the competition, and I think it was with the black background a great use of negative space. So I think Warmachine, you did an awesome job. A couple little changes here and there always makes everybody's shot a little bit better.
And I'm just as an aside, I know it sounds like a lot of this is going to be negative feedback, but it's all constructive criticism.
Yes.
If you're in the top 20, that means we loved your photos anyway. So don't. If it feels like we're shitting on things a little bit too often, don't take it personally. We loved all 120 entries.
I'm just going to be a little harsher because that's what I do. So if you want to be mad at people,
because you have a snobby film, or you have a snobby graphic design degree, and I have a snobby film.
I have a snobby art degree. Leave me alone.
we're snobby art school students. That's what we do. But no, again, if you make top 20, you got an awesome fucking shot. Like, do not think that we're shitting on your shots. If you guys are watching right now, all of these shots we loved, and you guys did a great job.
Just helping you make better shots because we know you can do better.
Also, Boot Spoot, CL the Raccoon, and Dr. Colo, thank you for the follows as well.
And Rope Arrow.
And Rope Arrow, yeah. We shouted out Rope_Arrow earlier. It's fine.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. That could be crazy, I don't know. But yeah, again, I just the lighting on this Warmachine, you did an awesome fucking job. Alright. Now we're moving on to this one. And let me pull up who shot this one real quick. This is again one of my personal favorites. I loved this shot, and this one comes from Crazy Body.
Ooh, yes.
And this composition, my man, you knocked this out of the park with the composition. Yeah. I love this shot. What do you guys think?
This was definitely one of my favorites coming into this.
BTE says, "Oh boy, hentai tentacle monster sighted."
I like it too, so I have to do my asshole critique. It feels like it was shot on a soundstage, and I don't mean that as a bad way. Like I feel like like an old school, like you had to make your backdrop. There's like a little weird like lighting on the corner that maybe makes me kind of go, but I like this one too. I like. And this is a good example about using a dark action base versus a clear action base. Like this is a good example of using the right equipment. But my couple critiques is you can see where your light sources are coming from a little bit, which I mean
a little.
It's not a light source. It's the sun. They're in space.
I don't entirely mind that so much because it kind of breaks up the monotony of the space background a bit.
Yeah,
but definitely the yellow is a little bit.
The yellow is a little distracting.
The blue
we're talking
towards the
about
top
here on the left-hand side, right?
There's one in the left and upper right.
Okay, I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, you can
see. If we had to give a critique, that would be my critique.
Yeah.
My personal thought, I love the lighting. And again, the composition on this is wonderful. This is a great use of how to use a shallow depth of field as well. Because you'll notice, like, we got these couple tendrils, these tentacles sticking out here on the side that are out of focus, and the majority of this figure is out of focus as well. It gives you the sense of, what the fuck is this thing? Like, I have no idea what the hell that is. In truth, I don't. I love that. Like, just the fact that it's almost like this impending doom. Your focus is still in on the kit. That's what the eye is drawn to. You're using leading lines with the tentacles to lead into the kit that's in focus. Fucking love that. However, I think it's a little too dark. And that actually is something that
You're in space!
You are in space, yes. But we're also looking at this objectively as humans. So I'm gonna actually play with the shadows feature here on the adjustments panel here on the right-hand side. So if I just bring those shadows up a little bit to bring down the contrast, it's not even really an issue with the brightness so much as just the contrast is a little too much. Just by bringing those shadows up a little bit, yes, it does make the things like the light points here, and here much brighter, but then it becomes less of an issue because it's almost breaking up more of that black background in the back there. Plus, it also brings out more details in things like the darkened leg in the back here too. So just by bringing up the shadows, the darkest points of the image, we end up making those light points a little bit less of an issue. And then you're getting a little bit more detail out of the kit. Again, I would rather that these little points not be there, but overall, I think that does help a little bit than keeping it as dark.
I think I liked it better before the adjustment.
Okay, well, how about this? Why don't we bring the shadows up, and then I use, if I can find it, what I would do if I could find it is actually throw a vignette on this. There we go. And that'll actually darken out those areas on the side. So you still get a little bit of those light sources, but it definitely brings down the amounts. Plus, we still get extra detail in the kit. We can see those side by side. This is the original here, and then the modified version as well.
I'm still waiting for it to show up.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you'll see the difference here in a little bit. But again, this is the original. This is more for the people watching. And then,
oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah, whenever you add the vignette, I like it a little bit better.
Makes a big difference, right? So a couple, again, little changes. These can all be done in your built-in photo apps on your phones. Yeah, a little bit of photo manipulation darkens out those yellows on the side, and it makes it for an awesome kit. Other critique? You should have went to Japan and got the 2.0 of the F91 instead of the 1.0.
That's not how. God.
This isn't a build competition, Jason.
Yeah. And you know what? My little nitpicks are going to be the fact that this is not a build competition, so these points don't count. The build itself is kind of lacking in detail. I would have liked to see some panel lines on there and the decals, but that doesn't have anything to do with this.
Not a build comp.
Not a build contest. Another nitpick of mine. Another nitpick of mine is that I don't like the fact that the right leg, or rather the left leg, if you're looking at it front on, is the foot is kind of hidden behind the action base, so it sort of brings the fact that the action base is there and in the photo, like it brings it to the forefront of my mind because it's obscuring part of the foot. But that is the most
dark matter
nitpicks. It's dark matter. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Sammy Takat says that that with all these no F91 tampos on the shoulders, 0 out of 10.
Yeah, the fact that I have to nitpick build quality goes to show that this is an absolutely fantastic photo, and it very easily could make the top. Very well done.
It's a fantastic one. I'm a massive fan of this. So thank you very much once again. That was, who the hell shot this one?
Crazy Body.
Crazy Body. Yes, and you were in the chat with us here in the Twitch as well. So thank you so much for joining.
I'm just gonna add that when I first saw this, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's a few of those where I went, holy shit, whenever I first saw them. Yeah. Nikki, Agent of Chaos, thank you for the follow. Any last critiques before we move on to the next one?
No,
I'll take that as a maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then the next one that we've got here is a nice use of framing by Pirates Razor. We've got our real great, my personal favorite version of the Astray Red frame, and it is dominating this shot. What do you guys think?
Oof. That is a very good looking red frame.
It is a very good looking red frame. It's a very well built red frame, but it is not a build competition.
It is not. It is not. It is not a build competition.
So,
my opinion.
Go on.
I have a thing where you cut pieces off of a photo. Like I don't like the hilt. Again, this looks like it was shot during an overcast day as well, so the colors are a little bit softer.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we don't hold a photo contest in the middle of March.
That is a fair point.
So how do you make that better? Anybody know?
Well,
Oh damn! Pop quiz. I should have studied.
I should have gone to school for art. Maybe then I'd know this.
T-shirt. A black T-shirt and a pinch will work as a flag. So for those of you that don't know what the hell I just talked about, a flag is basically used in a photo studio for redirecting light. If you don't have access to your own lighting, but you do have access to, say, a black T-shirt and something to stand it up on, you can actually put that out of the frame. And I would actually place that, like, I'm gonna switch over to the edit mode real quick. If you were to place that, like, behind where the shield is, like in that direction, but out of the shot, that would actually reduce the amount of light that's coming in on the image coming through the back. You can see a lot of the brightest points of this are in the head in the back, in the shoulders in the back, in the shield as well, and that's just where the dominating light is coming from. So putting something dark behind where that light is coming from will cut down on that, and you can then compensate for how much light is going into your camera by adjusting those functions. But I think that would even make this shot even nicer. Composition, Sig, again, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I like how much this shot is dominating the frame. So because of that, I don't have as much of a problem with how parts are being cut off. This is a really good example of what's called a cowboy shot in photography and video, where the majority of the shot is being taken up by the top 3/4 of the image. So like the end of the blade getting cut off, the gun being cut off, the part of the blade being cut off, it doesn't bother me as much. But
I think if he kind of put it was a little bit more in front of the kit, like where the sword's kind of coming out at you, but like not directly at you, but a little bit. The hilt's coming out towards you a bit more. I think I would like it a little bit better.
What I would like to have seen is go a little bit more extreme with the effect. What I'm going to do real quick... Oh, why did you do that? Hold on. Go back to the way you were. Thank you. I am going to keep the aspect ratio what the original is here, so I can keep it constrained. I'm actually going to go a little bit more extreme with this so that I can get his head in the middle of the frame. See, we already have part of his gun cut off here, right? So we're not so worried about that. We have a little bit of the hilt cut off here, but I'm not so worried about that. If we just get his head a little bit more centered in the rule of thirds here in this grid, take a look at this, how much different that looks. Just having the kit dead center, having that facial expression, which your mind's eye is going to be drawn towards, dead center is going to make a gigantic difference once again. So if we can see those kind of next to each other here, we got our... Oh, why did you take away my crop? Why did you break everything, you stupid machine? But yeah, I mean, I guess that... Yeah, so that's what I would suggest. If you can just make that a little bit more centered. We already have parts cut off, so we're not worried about them. Let's go ahead and just emphasize that more by getting it a little bit closer. What else?
I think I like Sig's point where... you know, if the kit was just angled slightly differently so that the drawing motion of the sword is a little bit more towards the camera as opposed to just sort of off to the side, that would have made the shot look a little bit more dynamic. As it is a very dynamic pose, and a lot of people said the exact same thing in Twitch chat. The sword drawing shots, one of my absolute favorite poses, especially with the Astray, because what's the point of having a model kit with a giant ass fucking katana that if you're not going to pose it with the giant katana?
Right.
And that is one of my favorite poses to do with it. It's a very well posed kit, and yeah, just a slight difference in angle, a slight difference in framing. It would have won Right there. Just shut down the stream right now. Here's our top entry. Bye.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, one other thing, just again, nitpicking here, just making it a little bit warmer. Again, overcast sky. We're talking about color temperature here. With an overcast sky, it makes things very blue. Adding a little bit more warmth to that. It's not going to make a gigantic difference, but if we just add a little bit more warmth, you'll see if we switch back between the two. That's the original. That's fixed with color. Not a huge difference, but just one little tiny thing that you can change to make things even nicer. But yeah, great job, Pirate's Razor. That is a wonderful, wonderful shot. And hey, my most popular video is featuring the Astray Red Frame, so I can't be complaining about it too much. So playing to the crowd a little bit. Can't be complaining about playing to the crowd. Maybe have the katana as the focus of the picture instead, says Slurp Derp. You know, that's another interesting idea. Doing something more like a macro shot with that blade being the only thing in focus might not be a bad idea. That would be a little bit tougher with it coming out of the hilt or coming out of the sheath though, because by doing that, you would almost need it to be have it be right in the front of the shot. But it's a decent idea. It's a decent idea. I really like it. All right, so moving on to the next shot. Oh my god, we're an hour in and we've only done 6 of these shots. Holy shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here for a minute. I hope you guys have the time. But let's move on to the next one. 82 viewers, by far the most popular stream I've ever had. And part of that is because we're gonna shill out to the unicorns with our friend Dixie Normous.
Oh, that entry, yes.
This is wonderful posing. This is wonderful composition. What do you guys think?
So this is a perfect way to frame a kit so that the huge hunk of plastic known as an action base is not immediately noticeable at all. Yes, totally agree. The only place where you see it is right underneath his foot, but you wouldn't even know that that's what that was if you didn't know that was an action base.
I think that's his foot.
I don't even see it. I think that's its foot.
It might be. I mean, I could even be wrong.
No,
but that's to emphasize.
I think that is the back heel of it.
You might be right.
That could be.
That you might be right. But it's a wonderfully composed shot. You're minimizing the noticement of the action base. The lighting is very good. You could tell that this was using some either you shot this outside or you shot like during a not overcast day.
I'm pretty sure
it looks like outside on a sunny day.
It's what it looks like to me. Yeah, it's either that or a nice blue background, and then holy shit, you did a great job.
That's definitely sunlight.
Yeah, no, this is a really, really good shot. Just in general. Again, the focus stuff, because you have the leading line situation again, like we've talked about before. And by the way, to answer the question in Twitch chat from earlier, yes, we are using, whenever I bring up this edit mode, I'm using the default Photos app on the Mac, but this is the same, like I'm only showing out the same kind of features that you can find in equivalent apps for your phone as well. Like you can do all the stuff that I'm showing here on your phone. It's nothing special, it's not Photoshop. So definitely keep that in mind if you want to edit this stuff yourself in the future.
Hi, Shin!
And Shin has joined us, who, by the way, still has the wound wart in stock. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, go buy shit off of him. And use the promo code BADGUNPLA10 for 10% off. Oh, by the way. Anyway, but yeah, no, just from a composition standpoint, it's wonderful. I do have a little bit of an issue though with, again, the leading lines, like I just mentioned briefly before I got sidetracked. Your eye is drawn to his face. Obviously, that's the focal point because again, humans are humans and we are drawn to faces. But then you have the line from his arm going out to this out of focus gun that's cut off at the end. I really wish that this ended or this terminated on an in focus shot. Like a lot of people I feel like brought their kits too close to the camera, so it gets you a very shallow depth of field. I would have loved to have seen this gun still be in focus. So moving back, zooming in would have helped with that. What do you guys think about that?
I agree. I think what throws me off with that gun, because you also have the shield cut off in the end. It's like, okay, but like there's is that a cannon or something? It's just like that little bit of it. It's like it's kind of. I know, I'm nitpicking because this is what I do. Like, don't take me to restaurants because I will critique the menus. That's how nitpicky I get with design and everything. Mm-hmm. But like, I love how happy this photo is. Like, I know it sounds weird. It's bright. The sun is shining. It's making me happy. It's fun. But the out of focus gun, it's like this little black blob in a very bright photo.
Yeah, I like that critique that it's happy though. I like that idea.
Fun, happy. Banana's gonna go fucking shoot some dudes. After he's done crying, are gonna die. It's gonna be great.
After he's done crying over his waifu that he never got to fuck.
Sorry, Demo. I think. Yeah, a lot of those critiques are pretty much my same critiques with it. I would have liked to have seen it, even if the gun wasn't in. Even if the gun wasn't in focus, I would have liked to have seen the gun not cut off.
Yeah,
you know, that alone would have helped a lot.
Yeah.
Same with the shield, barrel. But and I think if the problem though is that if the gun and the shield were in focus, we would have a lot of negative space towards the bottom left-hand corner of the shot. So, you know, it's you have to balance it. Do we want the gun to be in the shot but have a lot of negative unused space in the bottom, you know, left-hand corner of the shot, or would we rather have that cropped a little bit closer, cut off the barrel of the gun, and then complain about the gun?
Right, exactly. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? And that's why I think just bringing the camera back and zooming in might have actually been the better way to go in this case. Fucking BTE earlier said the food was great, that menu though. Who the fuck designed that crap? 3 out of 10. We do that more than you have any possible idea. Whenever me and Sid go out for dinner, we do that all the fucking time and critique the menus. It's a serious problem. We probably should stop.
Well, I'm the one who critiques them. You're just like, what the fuck are you doing?
I do too. Every so often. It depends on how awake I am.
Jig, stop yelling at the waiter. He didn't design the menu.
I know he didn't design the menu. So I'm gonna derail.
But he's there. He's a sounding board.
Derailing because I don't have time to type it. But I used to work for Dave & Buster's, and they had this very kiddish-looking menu, and I hated it. And then, like, after a year or so in, they came out with this beautiful. It was black and sleek, and everything was nicely gridded out. It was wonderful. I was very happy whenever they came out with the new menu designs. But I don't know if they've changed it since because they rebranded essentially.
I have no clue. I have no clue, but I do love this shot, though. So, yes, Dixie Normous, thank you very much for your submission, and this is a very, very good one. So,
I like it because it sells you on the fact that it's a giant robot.
Yes, yes.
Exactly.
That's that low angle. That's the low angle that does that. It's a much more lower angle than what you've seen previously.
There's nothing in the shot that distracts me from the fact that this is... You know, this is a 60-foot tall giant robot. There's not a random building or a tree that makes me go, oh, it's a
tiny toy. Yeah, no, this is and even BTE even says that he likes the gradient on the background. Yeah, the gradient's nice.
Yeah,
that's because it's a sky.
Yeah, the sky does that.
Yeah, the sky the sky is blue.
What?
And water is
fucking magnets. How do they
fucking refracted light, you sons of bitches. All right, we're moving on to the next one, and this one I am also a big fan of because this one I think has a much more interesting background. And this one comes from Sixer Mason, who I know is in the chat right now. Great fucking shot, great composition, and better use of, again, cutting off parts of the kit. What do you guys think?
This is the one I like because it's also another damn. This is a giant robot kind of shot.
That is beautifully framed.
I like the lighting of this shot. I like the fact that it doesn't do anything that makes it look small. And the only thing I could draw back on it is, as you said earlier, the foot is cut off.
Yeah,
quit cutting off the feet.
And here's why we keep harping on the feet too. For mecha in general. A sense of scale is a big deal, right? So, like, having the full kit in the shot, or at least the feet in there, it gives you a sense of grounding. It gives you a sense of where that lower plane is. By having that in the shot, it gives you a sense of scale of what the model is. If you don't see the background and it's more obscured, it can't add to that sense of scale whenever you bring the shot down low like this. This one's kind of hard for me to nitpick because I think it was this is a really good example of how to use a deeper depth of field. What I've been kind of harping on for a lot of this stream so far, the fact that everything is in focus. There's a little bit of out of focus on the frontmost leg, but it's so minuscule that you don't even really notice it, and that's not a bad thing. Everything else is crisp. The only stuff that's out of focus is the stuff in the background. So like these little extra details, the gradation on what looks like plywood, it starts to fade out a little bit. You start to not notice it. And even like if we want to get super fucking nitpicky, let me throw the crop on real quick. That shit even still lines up with the rule of thirds perfectly. Like you got his chest lined up with the left hand vertical. You got his face and everything lined up in the top third. Just bueno. Absolutely love this shot. Like I said, I'm kind of hard pressed to find stuff to nitpick on. Like his V-fin isn't completely straight with the with the horizontal axis, I guess. But like if we gotta nitpick that much,
I like this one that has a very good feeling of scale.
Yeah,
like I feel like this is very large.
Yeah, you can feel like a power.
And so much of that is the pose. So
really
much of that is the
imposing.
pose. Because it's the thing, this looks like a very simple pose, and it is, but the subtle changes. You got the foot sticking out in a different way. You've got a little bit of a bend in the rear leg. The kid itself is turned just slightly. His head is down, his chest is out. That gives you a massive sense of scale. Don't just stand him up in a fucking T-pose. Do stuff like that whenever you're taking your shots, and it will give you a huge sense of scale. So Sixer Mason, my friend, my brother, god damn, I love this shot. It's definitely one of my favorites.
Absolutely. One of my favorite bits about this kit is that there's a slight pop of color towards the top of the kit. Can you tell what it is? Of course you can. It's the fucking green ass eye.
Yes.
That pop of color is fantastic.
Yes, you are
the
absolutely
contrast
right.
that it has with the rest of the red kit, I really like.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
Yeah, the BTE mentions with the background, it sort of reminds of the Salt Lakes in Utah, like the extra little gradation on the lower plane. I think that's a great comparison. Just having a little bit of texture there, and texture that matches the kit is a huge deal. So yeah, this is a good one. This is a damn good one. So yeah, Sixer Mason, you did a wonderful job.
Those are basic ass foil stickers for your information.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Turns out those are the only useful stickers on a model kit is the foil stickers for the eyes.
But they caught the light so well that they actually showed up.
Yeah.
Exactly. They really, really did.
And I have to ask, because I know Sixer Mason, you're in chat and responding to everything. What surface is that posed on? It kind of looks like, if I look at it really closely, it looks like a piece of plywood or an old door or something. But
he said he shot it at the beach.
Okay.
That's what it looks like to me, though, too. It's like a plank of wood or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Avis fan Willie15 says in the stream chat, are we sure this isn't a leaked photo of a real Gundam? I mean, you know what's going on in the Pacific Theater now. North Korea, everything that might be getting weird over there, so they might need to have something like this.
Yeah, took it on a public picnic table.
Yeah.
Took it on a public picnic table. That is...
Could not tell.
Wow. Damn. Really, really good shot there, Sixer Mason. Great job. All right, moving on to the next one, unless anybody else has anything else to say. Maybe not.
What is that sound in your background?
In my background?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too.
What are you hearing?
Did you accidentally trigger Siri?
You might have.
Anyway, let's move on.
I don't know. I might have. I don't know.
I don't know.
It might have been the HomePod, but it's not playing any music. Anyway, moving right along. By the way, B Pilgrim, thank you very much for the follow. And our next kit is, again, this was an early entry, but again, one of my favorites from Samwise 511. I think this is a great use of shallow depth of field with the extra two kits in the back. Like, oh my god, it's him! It's him!
Oh,
it's him!
yes.
It's him! Like, I love the emotion. It's really good.
This is an excellently composed.
Yes.
I absolutely love it, and it takes the usage of the real grade kits really brings this pretty well together, because again, not a build contest, but I love the detail on the real grade kits, and having them in this picture is awesome.
Yeah, no, this is a really strong one. I love how fun it is. Again, a lot of people getting hit with the overcast. You can definitely tell. I mean, the lighting's a little flat, but again, we're starting to nitpick. I mean, if I had to nitpick, I mean, let's throw it in the edit mode real quick. There are people in the background. If we're talking about a sense of scale, you want to wait till those people leave, or you want to crop them out. That does kind of ruin the sense of scale a little bit, having a little figures that we know of. Like even like the background fence doesn't even bother me as much as the fact that we got, you know, Wilford Brimley over here fucking walking through the shot. but no, yeah. Like that's nitpicking again. Like like the composition's wonderful. I love how fun it is with the two kids like being like, oh my god, it's that guy, and it's adorable. This is an incredibly fun one, and I
now are they excited to see him, or is it it's that guy we need to beat the shit out of him?
Yeah,
I mean, it could be. You want to beat up? You want to beat up Grandpa?
It's open to interpretation.
And the best kinds of art are always open to interpretation, now aren't they?
I think I would like it if the because there's a bunch of negative space to the left.
Yeah, true.
I agree.
The stuff here on the side.
I think it's just like if he moved over just a little tiny bit, and it's also he's not perfectly straight in frame. He seems a little tilted. But yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea, we're gonna turn this into a portrait photo, just to give you an idea of how right she is about that. I just turned this into a portrait photo, so we got rid of all that negative space. We don't see as many people in the background. That is an infinitely different shot, and we're just looking at the two kits, right? Our background is still out of focus. We still get the sense of the two kits in the back either admiring or threatening Grandpa here, and it makes a gigantic difference. Now we have again a good 2-up shot. We have our out of focus figures in the back. We have our in focus subject in the front, and it lines up composition-wise. There's nothing wrong with using some significant cropping to change the aspect ratio entirely to make your shot even more evocative. But either way, again, we're nitpicking here. This is a wonderfully fun shot. I really, really do like this one. So great job, Samwise 511. Congratulations, welcome to the top 20. You did us proud, sir. You did a great job. Right to Unfunny does mention the right toe is pointed up for no reason. Yeah, I mean Grandpa could have been posed a little bit better, I guess. Like his front skirts are a little bit off kilter too, but yeah.
Look, he had the sun in his eyes, okay? Jesus Christ.
Exactly. And the Bugger at Home even says this doesn't even seem like a phone picture, and that's what I love about it. But yes, these are all verified as phone shots. If you don't believe me, I've actually got every single entry.
We've got the receipts
as well. Yeah, we saved all of our receipts, exactly. Yeah, if I pull up the original of that real quick, where the hell is it? Yeah. So this is the original shot here. I'm gonna switch back over to photo mode here. And then this is the proof that it was shot on a phone. This app, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but this is a built-in camera app. You can see the shots a little bit different. So yeah, this was shot on a fucking phone, man. The whole point of this contest has been to show that the excuse of I took the photo with my phone, I'm sorry, it's not very good, is not a valid fucking excuse.
Jason, please move away from the microphone.
I will not. But no, seriously, that is not a good excuse. If you take your time and you compose properly, you light properly, people won't even notice. That's what's so cool about it. So yeah, great job once again going out there to Samwise 511. Great job. All right, moving on to the next one. So G Taylor, before we move on, everything is being shown. We're not like the top 20 is just kind of a grab bag. Like we're not ranking these like 19, 18, 17, etc. This is just the top 20. So don't think of it so much as okay, well I placed 17th or 16th. Like we didn't get that fancy. So I think we've done like 10 of these so far. I think.
Let me check. We've done 1, 2,
a whole bunch.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've done 8, so we're on number 9.
We're on to number 9, an hour in, and number 9 is a face full of fists from Crimson Comet 1209. This is a good example of this is not a build competition because holy shit, all the nubs. But I still like it though. I mean, I think that it's still very evocative. You can still tell what is in the shot. I do actually like that you see all the detail in the arm still in focus. It just makes this thing feel like it was chiseled out of stone to me. What do you guys think?
This one is...
Where's the top of his chest?
Not a build
This is not a build competition.
I know.
But I would like to say, please clean your damn nubs.
No.
But no, my biggest gripe with this is that it is pretty much only the hand that is in focus on this shot. Everything else is blurry, and it gets worse as you get farther into the background.
Yeah, again, we got very close with the shot here, and that's again causing that shallow depth like we talked about before. Totally agree.
Bright, the bright spot in the top corner there. I want to look at that.
Yeah, your eye is drawn to this hugely bright spot here. You're absolutely right. I think honestly, just moving the shot and turning the kit so that it's just the stone wall in the background would have made a big difference. As it is, we can do some cropping probably to take some of that out a little bit, but yeah, watch for hot spots like that. I mean, you can tell that it's the light source though. I mean, they'll actually like they're taking the shot during what's called magic hour in photography, and not quite, but it's definitely close to it, where the sun's getting low, the strength of the sun isn't really there, so it makes for these really high contrasts on edges. So like if you're looking at like his shoulder pads and how each edge, you can see them very clearly defined. I like that a lot. And it avoids having those issues where we have with the other kits that are shot during overcast skies, where the lighting is almost too flat in some cases. So I think that in general, the time of day that this was shot was a very smart move. But I think those are all valid criticisms. There's a very bright spot up in the corner, and yeah, having just the hand in focus didn't bother me as much, but I can also see that as a valid criticism. Welcome to the Bad Gunpla channel. We love bright things and feet. Especially bright feet, says Slurp Derp. You're absolutely right. We love... Actually, I don't love feet. Feet are fucking gross, man. But what else? What else do you guys have to say about this one?
So, Jason, you'd be a little bit more familiar with the terminology than I am, but... what is the... I think, if I recall correctly, it's sort of like the dolly zoom effect, where it's like I would have loved to see like the face stretched out farther behind the hand. What is that?
Perspective?
Not perspective, but it sort of like... Oh, I don't know what the hell I
know what you're talking about. Like you're talking about basically like when you zoom in, how things look like they're closer together. I only know that as the well, I don't actually know that as anything more than just zoom. Just because when you're zooming in on things, it makes things almost flatter. But I don't.
Foreshortening.
Foreshortening?
Maybe. Foreshortening is a technique where, especially in drawing, where you make an object, you're on a flat surface, the thing looks closer than the thing from farther away.
Yeah. I think that's the right terminology. I like that.
I'm sure it's not what I'm thinking of, and this is going to bug the shit out of me for a long time. But in any case, I do like I sort of like the framing of the photo. I like the pose. The build quality, I know, again, not a build competition, but it's bugging the shit out.
I mean, yeah, and again, I mean, that's part of it, is at the end of the day, making your kit look as good as it can is the best thing that you can do. But I still like the shot. I think that the lighting is really good. A little bit of cropping would probably help, but yeah, in general, still very, very good. If you made it into the top 20, you did an awesome fucking job, and we're just gonna rail on you because that's what we do. So Crimson Comet, congratulations. Welcome to the top 20. And this is looking like a PG Strike Rogue, you're saying?
Rouge.
That is what it seems
Strike
to be, given
Rogue?
the articulated hand.
Rude.
Strike Rogue?
Jason,
I can go slap him.
Please.
I'd rather stay in your office, please. Unfunny and Slurp Derp, thank you very much for the follows. Much obliged. Awesome. Yeah, but great work though, man. Yeah, these are all very good. So yeah, Crimson Comet, great job. Now moving on to the next one. Another exercise in mood lighting from Scurvy Kid.
Oh.
This a free, I believe this is, with the smoke and the light. Minimalism.
Is this the one I really like?
I think this is the one that you really like, yes.
This
I'm waiting for it to pop up.
is an awesome use of shadow.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
100% agree. This is a wonderful use of shadow. Again, the smoke trail coming off of them. This is fucking intimidating as hell. And I love that. Like, this looks like it's a far off shot, like almost like you're looking down on a fucking fighting arena or something.
Yeah.
Before they turn the lights on before a big match or something like that. Like,
that's
great.
a smoke trail?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me, is a smoke trail. Unless
Yeah.
I'm
It
crazy.
is smoke trail. So what was really interesting about this shot, like whenever it first came into, we first saw it in the Discord, like I really liked it, and Jason's like, and then he got it up on the computer, up on the big screen, and he went, oh, yeah, that looks real good.
On the big screen, it definitely helped. Because
that is actually one of my big criticisms of this, is that I love this shot when I'm looking at it on a computer, but on anything else, it is so dark you really don't see a lot of the subtlety.
That is something to keep in mind whenever you're shooting photos, is what it's going to be viewed on. The nature of what we do in the hobby that we're in is that a lot of the interaction is done on our phones. It's done mobilely, right? We're in Discord. We're looking at Reddit or Instagram on our phones, right? Like, we're not looking at that stuff on our computers. So looking at it on a big-ass screen like this, it looks wonderful to me. I'm looking at this on a 27-inch Retina display screen, which is
5K.
Yeah, it's a 5K display, which is
Pale corporate.
For context, that's higher resolution than what you get at a movie theater in most cases. Like, it looks unbelievable. But on my phone, it looked kind of meh to me, if I'm honest. Like, it didn't look that great. But when we brought it up on that big screen, wonderful. Couple things. There is a lot of negative space. This is a shot that utilizes a ton of negative space to help its effects. I was playing around with this at first and just gave it a little bit of a quick crop to it, and I think that really, really helped. I'm going to actually just do that real fast just to demonstrate. And that way we have the Ifrit lining up again with that rule of thirds like I've been talking about all stream long. And that way we have both his smoke trail and the kit itself lining up in that rule of thirds. Everything's perfectly center. And one other thing that I did end up doing whenever I was playing with it, is I just went in and I gave it a little bit more on the highlights. So just bringing out a little bit more in his shoulders is not a ton different. You can actually bring up the exposure even just a little bit and then bring up that black point to get rid of the hot spots. It doesn't seem like I did a whole lot there, right? But again, all we're seeing here is the shoulders and the head. Let's go ahead and make those pop as much as we can. And just having a little smoke trail. I love the smoke trail, man. Fucking vape tricks over here. It's fantastic. Stroud knows all about those.
That's half of my personality right there.
Freaks and vape tricks. Outstanding. But yeah, again, doesn't look very much different, but if we revert back to the original, you got a lot more haze around where the shot is, or where the smoke is, excuse me. And then with those little adjustments, it's not much, but it just makes it pop just a little bit more. So I love, again, the use of negative space in this one is a fucking masterclass, and you did a great job there, Scurvy Kid. So congratulations and welcome to the top 20. Stroud saying this is the 11th shot out of 10, or out of 20, I should say.
Yep.
11 out of 10.
11 out of 10, best shot.
Yeah, 11 out of 10 best shot. Yeah, 5K monitor, higher resolution than real life. Yes, exactly. For those of you that don't know my setup, I use 3 iMacs, 2 of them as screens because I got them for free. So, yeah, two of them, the 2 iMacs off to the side I've got for free. I bought the one that's in front of me, so don't give me too much of a hard time. Fuck, you know what? No, I'm proud of my setup. Fuck all y'all. I worked hard for this.
I'm grinding for this view.
Unfunny with an interesting critique. Smoke, in his opinion, is not necessary. Should be a flare. That would be interesting. Like seeing it almost more like a bright point in there. Maybe not a bad idea. It's not a bad.
Yeah, it maybe would have added to the noir. Keep the smoke. Maybe even get like a spotlight sort of situation. You know, just. But as it stands, it's still a very, very well composed shot. I love it.
For real.
Totally agree. All right, so moving on to the next one. Stroud, I think you'll like this one a lot because of your forays with monitors.
I already know exactly which one you're talking about.
This one comes from L-Zaku. So I've done this before, Stroud's done this, and a lot of people started doing it on the subreddit ever since Stroud did it because he's a fucking trendsetter. Or he likes to rip off other more interesting people on YouTube than steal the idea for himself. So this was shot very clearly in front of L-Zaku's monitor. If you take a look, ooh, my stream dropped. Ooh, I lost all stream. Hold on. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, everybody. Let's take that up from the top. Don't know what happened to my stream there. But this was obviously shot in front of a monitor. And I like doing this a lot with my shots.
Cut off the feet, 1 out of 10.
Yeah. But I want to show this off because I want to show you also how this shot was originally taken. Let me find it real quick. I know I have it in here somewhere. Hold on. I gotta fucking find it. Where is it?
Shame on you. Well, he's trying to fucking find this thing. One of the things I like about this shot, it reminds me of early 90s, or maybe I got my thing wrong, like composited movie posters, like where you had like your actor and then you pasted your actor in front of that's what it kind of reminds me of.
Yeah.
Like I like it's artsy that way.
Red text, white background.
Yeah, so here's... Go ahead.
Well, like it feels like he's cut out and pasted over this city background, and it's not bad.
Not at all. And this is actually the original shot here. I'm gonna put this up on the screen real quick, so you can see he's got this like propped up on books in front of his monitor. Use the tools that are around you, my dudes. It doesn't look as bad as you might think whenever you do this. I've done this many times in my videos, and just it looks like he's in a city center, exactly. And I think the reason that the feet got cut off there was to make sure that it wasn't shown that it was a book. But I think that even leaving those feet in there, with that book being blue and the surface of the ground being blue here, that would actually, I think, add to the shot, because it brings that false background into the real world a little bit. You get a little bit more texture that way. So I think that actually if you had left a little bit of that book into the original shot, it would have even helped it a little bit more. So, but either way, I think this was a very clever use of the city center background there. So you should definitely be proud of that, L-Zaku. You did an awesome job.
Yeah, this again, fantastic use of the tools that are available. My major nitpick is that, you know, of course, this is a stock photo of a cityscape, and the kit itself is lighted differently than the background. And that sort of takes away from it. It sort of takes away from the composition because it doesn't look like it is a part of that same cityscape. It looks like it's sort of a model kit taken in front of a monitor. So what I would have done is maybe cooled down the lighting if you could have. You know, get a cooler light bulb, cooler light source for lighting your photo, and you know, if at all possible, you know, maybe adjust your monitor's brightness or contrast just to sort of make it a little bit more cohesive.
And honestly, with monitors, because you have to remember that the monitor is always going to be a little bit less black than the real world, contrast makes a gigantic difference. Those of you watching on the stream have probably already seen me fucking around with it a little bit, but just by me upping the contrast a little bit, now it looks like the lighting of this kit matches our background now, so it looks a lot more realistic. Sure, we lose a little bit of the detail in places like his crotch, for example, but we could bring that up just by upping the shadows just a pinch.
We cannot lose crotch detail.
Yeah, but now the lighting's the same, right? Like, so, like, now it blends in a lot more. Yes, we get a lot of vignetting around the edges and everything, but I think that matches a lot closer. Another thing we could do, maybe, let's take out maybe some of the blue, give it a little bit more of a warmer tone to it. That might help a little bit. Not really. Or actually making it even cooler just so we can make the kit a little bit more blue might actually help. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So yeah, that's a couple things that you can try as well.
I would say that my biggest criticisms of this are that the direction of the lighting seems to be different between the foreground and the background.
Yeah.
And that would be extremely hard to fix with just simple changes like you've been doing.
Well, there is one more. So I was using this before with the vignette to make the hot spots on that one shot. With the tendrils, I can't remember who took it off the top of my head, I apologize. But I used that vignette to make those edges darker. You can actually do a reverse vignette to make those a little bit brighter. And by me doing that, it does make the corners a little bit brighter, but it also takes away some of the brightness or the darkness that's up here where the sky is. It kind of flattens it out a little bit, so that's another thing that you can do. Just by making that a little bit brighter around the edges. Again, just a change you can make right inside of your phone. So it's not a massive difference, but when you see them side by side, this is the original here, and that's the changes that we made. There's a marked difference. Like it definitely can be helped. So yeah, is it perfect? No, none of these shots are, but it's, I think, still a great use of the tools that are around you. So yeah, L-Zaku, you did a great job. Well done. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Can we hit 100 people? That's my question right now. We're at 94 viewers right now.
Now 93 now.
God damn, why did I
You suck.
Dark Wolf 23, thank you very much for the follow, and that is incorrect. Thank you for the follow as well. Thank you everybody who's followed during the stream, because there's a ton of y'all. All right, so moving on to the next one. Whoops. Let's get out of this view so I can see everything again. And our next one was one of our earliest entries and is still one of my favorites because holy hell, the lighting on GlobalNet's shot here. Well done. With the Rex and the, looks like a Zaku Amazing if I'm not mistaken. The kit that I quite famously lampooned in many of my How Gunpla videos. So yeah, this one's an awesome one. What do you guys think about here?
I didn't even notice the Rex, to be honest, until he pointed it out. Oh my god.
He's sitting on something? I thought those were his legs.
No, he's sitting on a Metal Gear. On a Metal Gear Rex. So clearly this is a weapon to surpass the Metal Gear. What do we think about the shot?
I really like the use of the red lighting.
Yes.
The red lighting I like, but there are a few points on this where there is some glare from what looks to be a lamp, and that is a bit distracting to me.
He posted, apparently what it looks like is that he posted on top of his PC.
Yeah.
That's an RGB fan.
Yes, it is. Another effect that I've tried in the past, and it works really well. What you might be seeing as glare is actually what it looks like to me. I'm going to bring up the exposure really high here. That actually looks to me like folds in a sheet.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Here, I'll switch over to photo mode here. I've got the exposure
in the background, yeah.
In the background, but I'm talking about those like reflections on the plastic itself.
Yeah, on his dome.
Yeah, a little.
The head, the arm, the top of the gun, and the kneecap.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I did like that we're playing a little bit more with colored lighting. I love when people use colored lighting. There isn't enough of that, I don't feel. So I think that was a really clever thing to do. There is a ton of negative space, though, right? Like above the hit, on the right, all of this space can cut out with an easy crop, and we'll almost automatically have a much more interesting shot. We did cut off the Metal Gear Rex's feet again. 0 out of 10. This is
worst photo.
Absolute trash apparently, because we're cutting off.
Is this the worst 20?
It might be.
Because they're missing feet.
Fucking gotta get our advanced Gunpla into this.
And want to know about the whole feet situation. We discussed earlier about grounding. Whenever you cut off your ground, you lose senses of scale and all that fun stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not just because of the foot fetish, though. That is a part of it.
Yeah. Actually,
Shroud, we have to satisfy you somehow.
GlobalNet. We're not making fun. We're not making anybody feel bad here. We're giving criticism. Again, if you made the top 20, that means that you're better than 4/5 of the people that entered. So you should be very proud of yourself right now, my dude. But yeah, in general, I love the use of the lighting. I think it complements really well with the kit itself. I just would have liked to have seen a crop. I would have liked to see a little bit less negative space, so that we can just not have all that black area around.
Yeah.
I do like how it's imposing a lot.
Yeah.
It is like the angle that he shot it at. It's like I didn't know that was a different kit below him. I thought that was the entire thing. It's like I am this big giant thing. I'm going to kill things, and I like that.
Jesse, I think Jesse had a point that he wanted to get at.
Going back to the scale thing. I almost feel like I wish the fan hadn't been visible in the shot, because that gives me a frame of reference of, I guess that's like a 120 millimeter case fan.
Yeah,
I think
that's fair.
If you weren't aware that that was a case fan, it would almost feel like an industrial fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I got from it.
Which is fine, but if you're posing it with an industrial fan or something like that, then there's no point of it being an action shot, because what are you doing having a battle in the middle of your hangar?
Maybe they're being invaded.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But you shouldn't be using a big ass fucking anti-material rifle in a hangar.
Anti-tank rifle.
Yeah.
Anti-tank
rifle. It's in case there was any confusion, it's not L-Zaku Amazing. It is the high grade Gundam the Origin.
Oh, okay. Because I was looking at the rocket launchers on the side, and I was thinking it was L-Zaku Amazing. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
It's
an idiot. I'm the worst. I know nothing about Gundam. What is Gundam? Awesome, but yeah, great job, man. Like, I really do like this shot. This was, again, one of the earliest entries, GlobalNet, and I really, really enjoyed it. So the fact that it stuck around this long should make you feel real good, man. You did fucking awesome. All right, so moving on to the next one, we have. Oh yes, I remember this one. This one from. I'm only going to call you ASDF going forward, but this is from ASDF JKL semicolon.
Negative one.
Let's just call him Homerow here.
Yeah, well, there you go, Homerow. There you go. I like that. So Homerow's shot here. If we want to talk about sense of scale, if you want to talk about imposing, goddamn, my friend, I love very much, almost everything about this. What?
I hate everything about this.
Why do you hate everything about this?
Real great data and the hand.
The hands that got you.
Oh shit! I didn't even notice that. Oh shit! Oh, that's
I don't
wonderful.
get it.
I zoomed in on it for
April,
you. Don't
look
worry.
up the circle game.
Oh, that's
I don't get
wonderful. Here, I'll zoom in on it for you.
I know. I know. These plays at work.
That's wonderful.
I don't get it.
I didn't even notice. That's great. But no, real great Zeta. Best kit 2017. But I mean, seriously, like the background, I think he was saying in the chat, was all done in like construction paper, and it still came out really nice because it's not fully in focus. What do you guys think?
It's a little flat, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I like the angle.
Yeah.
I like that the caution markings on the ground give like a clear, like it gives a greater feeling of distance than there probably actually is. Like that's probably a couple feet.
A really good sense of scale.
Yep. You're 100% correct. I couldn't agree more. I'm a little concerned about our pilot figure suffocating in the depths of space, but you know that's not my prerogative.
I mean, it's Camille. He deserves to.
Ooh.
Wow. But no, I love the pose on this one too. I mean, yeah, we joke about the real great Zeta a lot, right? I mean, clearly it is the best kit of 2017. But in general, I think the pose on this was actually about as good as you're going to get on a real grade Zeta. Like, that's something to be proud of by itself.
And I mean,
I'm surprised that you were able to maneuver it like that and nothing broke.
Yeah.
And nothing fell off. All the parts are there.
Mm-hmm.
He super glued it.
Yeah. He put it in that pose and then dunked it in Flex Seal.
You beat me to it. But yeah, I think that the I'm saying a lot, by the way. I'm sorry about that. But I think that that's a valid criticism about there being a little bit of flat lighting on this one. I would have liked to have seen actually the light source coming from either the moon or whatever the hell this is in the background. So moving those lights back and letting it come across as if that is the light source could have made a gigantic difference to me. I would have liked to have seen actual caution tape or maybe something similar to that, because the paint or whatever is used to make this is a little distracting. Because it doesn't
sloppy,
win all the way.
Does that fall under this isn't a build contest?
Not when it's the scenery.
It's not a Sharpie contest.
Yeah, but then again though, it's part of the scenery, right? So like if you're gonna do a diorama shot or diorama, however the hell you want to pronounce it, you want it to emphasize how good that diorama is too. Because if it's not perfect, then that can be a little distracting. We're not grading the kit itself because we already know that this is the best kit ever made, so we wouldn't even worry about that. But I think that just cleaning that up a little bit would have really helped, and just moving the lighting back and letting it shine over its shoulder would have made a huge difference. But I love the use of the Dutch angle. We haven't talked about this at all. The Dutch angle is where you end up turning the shot a little bit, like you have it at a slant.
You can see the horizon.
Yeah, you can see
line.
how the horizon comes down. Exactly. And that, again, adds to that sense of scale. It adds to making things a little bit unnerving, a little uneasy, kind of like how posing the RG Zeta is in general.
Kind of like how handling the RG Zeta is in general.
Oh, dude, I took mine to the photo studio that I shot the Perfect Gridexia video in the other day. I was terrified to take it out of the box. I didn't even end up shooting the damn thing because I was too scared to take it out of the box. And
You got it into the box in one piece?
I did, and I got it out of the box back home in one piece, which is even more scary. But no, I think the posing is wonderful. That's really what kind of knocks it up there for me. I think you did a great job on this one. ASDFJKL semicolon Homerow. We're gonna call you.
One of the things that I want to point out, which I think a few people in chat have already pointed out, the background's very nice, but that big featureless circle, which I'm assuming is supposed to be the moon, it is taking up. It's just a big featureless circle in the background. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit more done with that, or maybe even just removed entirely. Because as it stands, it's a focal point that is uninteresting.
That's fair. No, I think that's fair. And also, like, with the leading lines, again, those big yellow and black lines, they do lead your eye towards that, so it can make it more distracting that way. I think that's definitely a valid criticism as well. So either way, though, I do really, really like this one. Yeah, kneeling poses S+ from Unfunny. You're absolutely right. I love kneeling poses. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
BTE says diorama, like Camille in space without a helmet.
Yeah, and Witch Hunter, both feet are in frame, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So, like, if this image had its foot cut off, we wouldn't lose the sense of scale.
That's exactly it. Yeah, well, you would have a little bit, but not nearly as much.
Yeah, you would have.
I think it's great. I'm a really big fan of this one.
Yeah.
You know what else I'm a fan of?
Hold on. What's that? I
am a fan of CV Unknown.
Are you?
In general, he's a good guy. I like him.
I'm a fan of CV Unknown too. He's a very good spreadsheet czar.
Yeah, I'm also a fan of the Grimgird.
Yes. Yeah. No,
and I'm a fan of this wild ass pose that he made for this one. What do you guys think?
It feels fast.
Yes.
It feels very fast, very agile, very fucking kill.
A lot of energy in.
A lot of energy, a lot of grace, a lot of speed, a lot of power, a lot of negative space.
There's a lot of negative space. The base is pretty visible there.
I like the fact that he used the clear base.
The clear base does help, though.
So remember when we were looking at that unicorn earlier? if we had just turned the kit a little bit, it would have just covered up the base entirely, and you would have never saw it. So that's a great point. I think just pointing out.
To his credit, I believe he said he was holding this up with one hand while trying to photograph it with another.
That sounds like an excuse to me. And also, I know that that's not true because I remember seeing the original and he's shooting it on the ground. So there.
No, he took a screenshot of the photo on the ground because he needed both hands to take the screenshot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
So
all right.
he was holding this.
Yeah.
You needed to hold it up higher.
Yeah, a little bit lower of an angle would have helped even more, I think. Definitely, almost kind of like the foot would be like kicking at you. And this is not even like a joke about feet at this point. I mean, like that is the action point of the image is the foot down here in the bottom, right? Like all the lines all converge in a triangle to that point. So having that kind of almost be the focal point more so than the entire kit would have made a gigantic difference. Just bring it down a little bit, get rid of some of this extra space that doesn't need to be here, and you have a better shot.
Yeah, Sixer made a good point. That the reason why I said you needed to hold it higher up because you have that the background of the houses and everything. It's like, what's going on? It's kind of like the angle's weird.
Yeah, it's a little slanted. It's a little slanted. I mean, we can adjust that so that we can get rid of that slant, but even still, it's still there. It doesn't need to be there, right? So, like, yeah, just bringing the shot down a little bit would have made a huge difference, and just made it a little bit more interesting of a shot because we'd be focusing in on them sexy, sexy feet of the Grimgird. But I do love the pose. There's a ton of energy to it. It's a very fun shot. I think you did wonderful. I think you did a good job. You did great.
Yeah.
You should be proud.
He should be proud. It's a very good entry. Yeah, could be cropped a little bit better. The houses in the background, not a big deal for me because it is the background is so far away that it doesn't really mess with the sense of scale too bad.
It's not really the sense of scale. It's more of the lines of that background.
So the thought with any photo is everything in the shot should have a purpose, right? So like you almost want to ask yourself, why are those houses in the shot? What does it add? The clouds add a ton to the shot because we're getting a sense that this thing is striking down from the sky by doing that. But why are the houses there? They don't need to be. And again, by bringing the shot down a little bit, we lose that, but we would still keep the clouds.
And I think if I recall correctly, CV was waiting for so goddamn long to get a good picture because it was like constantly shitty outside for him, and it would have been so much better if there were like more clouds higher in the sky, you know, maybe not like towards the top, but maybe even towards the middle, so it looks like the kid is sort of breaking through the atmosphere or the clouds or something like that. Unfortunately, the nature didn't cooperate with him as it is keen to do, but it is still a really good one.
You gotta work with what you have. Yeah, this is an 11th hour submission. I think this was right before the deadline.
Yeah,
it was like the same
with it.
Yeah, getting real close, real close. Yeah, no, I think this is a good one. So definitely, good job, CV. Should be proud. Give yourself give yourself a pat on the back and have fun.
And tell Shit we said hi.
I think he wanted a range shot originally.
Ooh, that would be nice. I would love to have seen a couple range shots. Yeah, we don't have any range shots. That would have been really neat.
What you should have done is just thrown the kit into the air and take a picture as it.
You only get one shot. Make it count.
It's just a blur. Blink and you'll miss it.
All right, moving on to the next one. This was, again, one of our early entries and still one of my favorites. This one comes from Matt1763, aka Man with a Sword. The white, the blue, the snow, the ice. Oh my Jesus. I am a massive fan of this one.
This is a very, very good use of almost sort of monochrome color.
Yeah. This is definitely monochrome.
I think this is, oh God, what? This is a Build Fighters kit. I can't remember what the fuck
I believe this is a transient, is it not?
Yeah, that's the one.
Transient gun. It's wonderful. I'm a massive fan of this shot. Again, like you mentioned, the monochrome, the fact that this is being shot in the snow with all the ice, all the white, all the blue, the color palette on this is gorgeous, and it makes you feel cold. I mean, that's what it's going for. It feels very cold, very imposing.
But how interesting is the photo really?
I think it's really nice. What are your criticisms?
Like, I know whenever like this one first came across us, like you're like, oh, it's really cool, and it's just like I think like there's a little bit going on in the top corner background. Like I don't like I don't know. This one, like, yeah, it's pretty to look at, but it's not really interesting. Our main focus are the weapons. I see the weapons first because of that cross, that X. That's what's drawing my eye. What's the model kit doing in the background?
I think, yeah, the composition could have been a little bit better. I agree with that. It's kind of hard to focus on find where the focal point is. We just crossed 100 viewers, by the way. Just want to throw that out.
Yay!
Thank you very much for the support, everybody. This has been awesome.
Now.
Yeah, now you can all leave. No, please stay. Please stay. I don't want to lose you. What I would have liked to have seen is, and I would have loved to have seen actually, is just the weapon being the focal point. Actually, that's a great point. Yeah, just let that be the focus. Turn the kit to its backside. One of the guys, Unfunny, mentioned that. Like, just turn it around. Yes. Have it be a rear shot. Then you're not even worried about the kit, and the focus can be the weapons at that point. With it being so close, that would have worked really, really well. But I still love the sense of color to this. Like, it's a great
I think you're just jaded because it was one of the very first ones.
I think I'm just jaded because I like ice, I like blue, I like shiny, I like build fighters, and I like translucent parts.
I like blue too, but like I said, like, this one is just like,
Poke Ranger, not a fan of the build fighters kits, but I totally disagree. I love the build fighters kits. They're simple. They always look at least somewhat interesting, so I'm a big fan of it. But yeah, I mean, again, there's not really much of a focal point the way it's currently composed, but that can be cleaned up. And I think
so. One of my
slurp derp with the I cut you off. I'm sorry. Slurp derp with the top tier puns. Make it give the cold shoulder.
One of my criticisms that maybe it doesn't affect anyone else. It could just be the hardware again that I'm looking at it on. Which again, we talked on this point before. What sort of hardware are you looking at it? The image itself looks kind of artifact.
There is a lot of artifacting.
Yeah, so I think it looks like it may have been zoomed in a little bit too much, or maybe it
was over sharpened.
Yeah, over sharpened. Mm-hmm. So the artifacting is sort of taking away from the quality of the photo. It is, again, I mentioned that when we brought in the picture, I like the color scheme. I like the use of the cold colors. I like the fact that it was taken in the snow, and I know that Matt had an issue where he forgot to get the receipt for it, and when he went to go, take the screenshot, the snow had melted.
Yep, I remember that.
That is something that you only have like one real opportunity to do. But
yeah, like I said, definitely be careful of over editing.
Yeah, and I think Sixer has a good point where it looks like the focus is actually on the side of the knee, that big circle in the knee, where it should have been closer to maybe the cross between the two jumps.
Totally agree.
So, Bad Gunpla, whenever I'm watching you play with this here, I'm definitely on a delay, but you had it zoomed in where the crop ended at the X, where they cross, and that actually looked a lot better.
Just like this, I have it back up on there, and I think that would have worked a little bit as well, a lot of people discount cropping because it does cut down on your quality, because you're literally losing pixels. But in this sort of case where we have all this artifacting, a lot of that I think is because of a little bit of over editing that can still be cleaned up, and usually this has to be done inside of a something like this, where we're at right now. Inside of a computer-based editing system. Now, there are ways to reduce noise. Like if I go here to noise reduction, I can go ahead and drag that across and try to take out some of it, but it's not making a very big difference, right? Like even like with how zoomed in we are, it's kind of hard to really clean up much of that unless we're getting into like some really professional like Photoshop stuff.
Yeah.
Which you can do if you want, but just definitely be careful about over editing that can cause artifact because you're working with a digital medium. The more you mess with it, the more grain is going to come out of it because it's only working with the pixels that it already has. That's why a lot of photographers shoot in what's called RAW format. And if you can use a camera app on your phone that shoots in RAW, like ProCam, for example, the app that I use, then you can do a lot more editing with it because there's a lot more raw data, hence the name, that can be used during the editing process. So if you're not confident about the lighting that you have or the sharpness that you have, that can really help. So keep that in mind. But either way, Man with a Sword / Matt 1763, I'm a big fan. I really like this one a lot. And I don't care what you say. I might be jaded because this is one of the first really good ones that we got. I don't care. It looks good. Looks fucking good. So fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck you too.
I mean, we could talk about that later, maybe.
Cease.
It's okay. We live together. It's fine. Anyway, moving on to the next one. This is, I think, another really good example of lighting, posing, and composition. And this one, I gotta double check who it came from. I'm gonna butcher this, and I apologize. Hagees _Sunga. A little bit different on this one. We got, I believe, one of the, like the Star Burning or a Build Strike variant of some kind, getting chopped up by Edward Scissor Gundam. The Rebake full gardener in the background there.
Yeah.
But I do like this shot a lot. What do you guys think?
Is it piloted by a specific spoiler character? Because it looks like a shot from IBO Season 2.
Oh, no.
Okay, I actually have a couple gripes with this shot.
Go ahead.
The background, despite being the one doing things, is very out of focus. And the posing on it seems extremely lackluster.
Like it doesn't feel like it's actually using any force to cut it.
I agree with that, and I think part of that is because of how much that the rebake does pop out from the background. You got this bright kit, you got a very dark kit in the front here. That looks good in and of itself, but at the same time, because of how clean and how bright the rebake is in the background there, it does make it very much the focal point of the shot, right? Like, and it's not a bad one. There are ways to also affect and clean up that as well. I would bring down the saturation actually on this fairly significantly to just make this not pop as much in the background. Aside from that, maybe bring up the the highlights maybe a little bit to make the kit in the front a little brighter, but it definitely pops out from the back because of how bright it is.
I would agree with the posing too.
Yeah, the posing could use a little bit of work, but I'm not as harsh on the posing because it's almost sort of like a.
It's the end of the fight.
Yeah, it's a omae wa mo shiniru.
No freezer Yamete moment.
Yeah. No freezer dono yamete.
I too watched Dragon Ball Z abridged. But yeah,
DBZ Kai abridged.
Yes, specifically DBZ Kai abridged. Yes, I do think that this is still a pretty well composed shot, though. Having you can see what the kits are. You're not actually seeing the entire kit in either of these instances. You don't see the entire rebake in the back. You don't see the entire kit here up front. And it gives it a little bit more ambiguity. You can also see both feet, 10 out of 10.
There's three in this shot.
Oh, baby.
But we're missing one of the full cities here.
Doesn't matter. We have 150% feet.
Yeah, Boxcar says 15 out of 10, 3 feet.
I mean, glass half empty here. We're at 75% of the feet we should expect.
No, that's true.
That is true.
Damn.
But no, I kind of like how you don't see the entire kit in either shot. Like, right, you're not seeing the front of the kit in the foreground. You're part of the rebake's cut off. I think that actually works well for the composition in this case, because you're kind of letting your eye wander around a little bit. You're not really having the same kind of focus problems like we had with the last entry, because the foreground is in focus. You're going to be looking at this first, and then your eye kind of wanders from there.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's easy to lose, the fact that the Gujin has 4 arms. If you didn't notice, and the back 2 arms are it's got like a Goro sort of effect from Mortal Kombat, where it's like 2 of the arms are cutting you in half, and the other 2 are giving you the finger.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
I didn't notice that, so you pointed it out.
I didn't either. I forgot that was a thing on the Gushin Rebake Full Gardener. Fucking
the Gushin Rebake
design.
Fucking the it's basically almost like a Build Fighters custom. Hey, it's a Gundam that snips out smaller Gundams. It's a model kit builder.
Pretty much. This is the inspiration for that new Gundam Breaker game.
But I do agree with that whole focusing. It kind of invites you to look around the entire picture.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing whatsoever.
Yeah, but I wasn't saying it was, but like that's a good thing. Like you can see everything that's there.
Yeah.
Having a little bit of stream droppage again. I do apologize. This is gonna start to glitch a little bit here for a bit.
I mean, we have been going for a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, we're going for an hour and 55 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's right, because you didn't start.
Actually.
I just got actually.
Yes, you did. And actually, we got a couple more entries to get through, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I think this one's adorable. I think this one's fucking adorable, and I love it. The fucking bear guy family. This one coming from B Pilgrim. This is so fucking cute, and I love everything about it. I assume you guys don't know which one I'm talking about yet.
No, I am. I have the
I'm waiting for it to pop up
as you're talking about it.
The little snowman and the little fucking petite guys in the back, and it's so cute, and I love it. It's so fun. It's so adorable.
This one is great because again we're going to be going back to the whole theme of the fact that the things that you're supposed to be taking pictures of are giant robots. These aren't supposed to be giant robots.
Yeah.
These are petite guys. These are bear guys. These are supposed to look adorable and small and chibi, and this image captures that beautifully.
So it does capture that. But let's talk about some of the photography.
Now let's eviscerate this adorable image.
So the saturation is kind of... The snow's overexposed a bit, so you kind of lose the detail in the snow. I don't think the composition is...
It's a very flat.
Great. It's very flat. It's cute, but very flat.
Yeah, I mean, the composition I don't think is the problem, but I think that the fact that it is so flat is. You can straighten it out a little bit. You can see the horizon line with the snow. It does kind of dip down a little bit. Let me switch back over to edit mode here. It does kind of dip down a little bit. We could clean that up just by straightening it a little. And even that just by itself ends up making it look a little nicer. You still get the cane and the heart on the side here. So they're putting them down, getting ready for a snowball fight or something. And yes, I agree about the saturation. It is a very muted shot. So let's go ahead and just bump up that saturation real quick. And you can start to see those colors really start to pop out. And hey, it's the middle of freaking winter. Let's make this a little bit cooler, right? Like just make it a little bit more icy, a little bit more cold. The reason I'm doing that
I don't think you need to make it more cold. Because like it's obviously a winter shot.
Son of a bitch. The reason that I made it colder.
You're sitting on the couch.
Okay, well let me finish. So when I bumped up the saturation, it made the wood and the trees stand out a lot more, which is very brown. So the original issue the issue wasn't there originally, but whenever I bumped up the saturation, it did come up. So then we're going to make it a little bit colder. And just to your point of the exposure, I am going to use the highlights to actually bring the brightness of the snow down. Now this does make this shot very dark, so I'm going to go up here and go to exposure, brighten everything up just a hair. Let's go ahead and bring it back some of the highlights to get some more of that detail back. And finally, it's a little bit of contrast to make those trees just a little bit darker in the back and make those kits separate a little bit. I think that this just by itself does make the image look a lot nicer. It pops a lot more. The colors really stand out.
The sky, I like the way the sky looks after the.
Yeah, and I mean, I could get really fancy. I could use like the brilliance filter here on the top, which I don't like using too much because it's kind of like cheating to me. But that's also something you don't get on your phones. Every phone editing tool has things like exposure and highlights. Now, again, doesn't seem like we did much, but if we switch back to the original, how much more flat and muted does the original look now compared to those couple little adjustments? Just adding a little bit more saturation, making the snow a little less bright, bringing that detail back makes a huge difference. There's something to be said about shooting a shot without any filters. I mean, that is obviously a big thing, but they're there to use if they're going to make the shot better. The
not a build competition, but the petite guys are missing their nose stickers 2 out of 10. I like the touch of the little snowman getting the Papa Guy's top hat.
Yep, I was just about to say that. That's a really good touch with the little top hat on the snowman.
And the tiny scarf.
Yeah.
Like knowing how big these kits are and knowing
that
like
is so good.
That tiny little snowman with the tiny little scarf. Just those little touches. I absolutely adore it.
It's very cute. It's a very, very cute one. All right. Slurpderp says he doesn't have a photo editor with all these settings. Man, this is stuff that's in the built-in Photos app on your phone, whether it be Android or iOS. So I mean, these are all things that you can do on your phone if you look hard enough. So definitely keep an eye out. The feet are also covered in snow, so obviously this is disqualified for every possible entry.
Yep.
Gotta throw that out there.
Wow, that is fucking BTE in Twitch chat. Wow, that's insensitive. The poor petite guys lost their nose to frostbite. My bad. back to 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's good. Hey, come back to focus. Thank you. All right, so let's take a look. I think we got like what, 2 more, maybe 1 more.
We have 1 more.
1 more.
All right, so this is the last one. Who's it gonna be? Well, I know, so let's just not bother with the pretense. There's our last one. I think, yeah, this is the last one. And this one...
This is the last one?
This is the last one. This is number 20. And this one comes from Mandoggo, another shot with the Real Great Astray red frame. So some people have watched my posing videos.
This feels like it could be from your posing video.
I dig the pose a lot. I think that they used the action base really well. It looks like it's out charging. It's not a perfect photo, and I'll get to my criticisms here in a bit, but I picked this one primarily because of the pose. What do you guys think about the rest of the shot?
I think the
bright.
lighting is a little bit it's harsh.
It is very harsh. It is very harsh lighting.
Like, if the background was a bit, like, if the background was more flat and darker, I think I would like it a bit with the harsher lighting. I think, like, it's the contrast, like your black points and everything. If there was a sharp contrast with the light and the dark, it would look really cool.
I agree. I'm watching the chat go as well. Everybody's saying like, oh, I didn't make it. Obviously my photo sucked. No, it didn't. It's just that we had to whittle down the 122 entries to 20. Like the first pass, just a little bit of background. The first pass that I did trying to figure out who the top 20 was going to be had 44 entries in it. That was just me picking out my favorites. Like there's a ton of good work that wasn't able to be showcased, and we are going to open up the Contestgunpla channel so that everybody can see everybody's entries. But this I think is the best shots out of that 20. So you guys all did a great job. This kit again, I picked it mainly for the pose. I think that the lighting is definitely not the best. If you look closely, there is a lot of motion blur as well. Like when you zoom in on this. It's kind of hard to tell by normal standards, but I'm going to zoom in here. And you can actually see a little bit of shake in places like the V-fin. It's very subtle, it's very slight, but that's what causes it to be a little bit more blurry whenever you zoom all the way back out. So using things like a tripod or a stand can, definitely help. And I liked the floor though. I like this kind of like marbling effect on the bottom there. I think that complements the action base really well.
Yeah, it was. I mean, seeing the action base again, not a huge deal, because it sort of flows together pretty well with the entire photo. You can't see the arm of the action base, which is again a pretty big thing of mine. Not seeing the arm of the action base makes it so that it's not being posed with the action base. It's hard to tell where the actual focus is. A lot of the image does seem to be pretty blurry. Maybe that's the point. Again, you mentioned the sort of motion blur effect that may have been going on, but
I think that was more camera shake than anything else.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, this is it. This is our top 20. Again, another thing that I would do here, I've harped on it before during the stream. Lots of negative space. Just crop that out. Just make this a nice long 16:9 shot. Just bring that down. Get rid of all that crap in the top there. And that already.
Hey, Lovey, is there an additional 3, or are we picking our top 3 from
We're picking
the
our
20?
top 3 out of this. So you've seen the top 20, and now we're going to pick our top 3 out of these 20. So there's not 3 beyond this. This is the top 3 is in this grouping.
Yeah. If you're interested, Jason, I think we can probably run through the top 20 one more time, just show the images real quick.
Yeah.
If you're interested, I did post basically a screen cap of my top 20, just folder in the Contestgunpla discussion. So if you missed any of the entries, I went ahead and posted a screenshot in the Contestgunpla discussion channel in the.
Well, what I was going to do while we're discussing who we want to have our top 3 as, I'm actually going to run a slideshow on the stream.
Yeah.
We keep the stream going with the top 20 entries in there. So everybody will be able to see what is in the top 20. And we will, how much time do you think? Because we were talking about a half an hour before. I think that's a little bit much. You want to maybe come back at the top of the hour?
I'd say, yeah, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, let's give, well, just to make it even, why don't we take this up to the top of the hour, 11 o'clock. We'll go ahead and see winners.
All right, sounds good to me.
All right,
play
guys.
some music, watch the slideshow.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Stay tuned. Stay tuned so that you guys can learn who the winner is. The top 3 of Contestgunpla, the Gunpla photo contest. Thank you to all the entrants. Again, if you didn't make the top 20, don't feel bad. There was a ton of great entries, and we just couldn't fit them all. So don't feel bad. You guys all did awesome. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get the transition up with the entries, and we'll be back in a few minutes, folks.